Welcome back. Before this short break, we were talking to our distinguished guest today about why do I look like my daddy? Why should I look like my daddy? Why not my mother? Well, here is the answer.
Well, actually that was the title of a book, but it's a misnomer. People do look like their dad, people look like their mothers, but in a male-dominated society, maybe the title was, why do I look my dad? The point that I was trying to make, that in our part of the world, in Asia, in many countries, a lot of divorces take place because the male members, including not only the male members, even the female members of the family, think that this wife of my son is unable to bear a male child. Yeah. What a misconception. And I was once having a talk on this, genetics, on Bangladesh television, saying in very clear terms how the whole thing happens. And there was a woman who wrote a very heart-rendering letter to the producer. He said, I watched the program of Dr. Shamsher Ali, and I have 4 daughters, and I'm pregnant now. If I have a 5th daughter, maybe I will be, I will have divorce from my husband will divorce me. So tears came down my cheeks, and I said, what a misconception. So what is this the media do? Yeah. It is the responsibility of the media to take the scientific work and explain it in very simple parlance to people all over the world, so that all this misconception. Look at our Holy Prophet, Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He didn't have a son alive, but don't we know his genealogical tree? Yeah. We know everything. And he said that if you have 3 daughters and if you can raise them up, then you secure heaven. You know, so it says that the amount of importance, and there's no difference between a daughter and a son. The most important question is to raise them up properly. That is the thing. So, I mean, you were just talking, the point was genetics actually, right. And that the present day, the DNA technology, recombinant DNA technology, which is not very old either. I mean, the DNA in the 1950s, earlier than 1950s, we didn't have the slightest idea about the DNA that looks like a double helix, and they had X-ray crystallography, they had all this at Cambridge, and Wilkinson, they discovered the structure, and thereafter you know how fast the subject has gone. Even in the latest, the body clock thing, for which
only the other day,
the people have
3 professors
won the Nobel Prize, 3 scientists won the Nobel Prize. The gene comes back again and again.
Yep. Like, I mean, you have traveled so much, I mean, that so many places you have visited, you have written so many papers and so many books, and you have attended so many seminars that we have not had so many breakfasts. But because you have visited so many places, far off places, you are a very extensively traveled person. We are sitting in London, this is 0 degrees, Dhaka is 90 degrees longitude, see, 360 minutes difference, see, considering that every degree that the earth travels is 4 minutes, see. So it's about 6 hours, see. So somebody who travels from Dhaka is 6 hours behind that way, or ahead one way. How do our body adjust? I mean, I'm sure, as I was talking to you last night, I said that you must have had a lot of jet lags because coming from
you have a temporary jet lag, but fortunately I'm used to travel. Right. Lord God has shown me a lot of ground to me. I have traveled to different lands and different peoples, and I have scientific collaborators in many lands in the world, here in Europe, America, many places. But I think it's a question of getting used to it. But now that you said body clock, let me just say, you know, the recent Nobel Prize went to 3 scientists. And what did they work on? They found the both animals, including microorganisms, and the plants and human beings, the internal working of the body is attuned to the revolution of the sun on its axis and then around it. Now this is something very interesting. And they found a fruit fly and they examined it, and they found that, again, they studied that there is a gene which encodes a protein, and that protein is created at night, and then that it's sort of degraded during daytime. Now, they have done experiments
that keeps us
on
awake.
This. They did a protein. Now, that is dependent on the rotation of our thing. So what happens inside, thought is very interesting. This very thought that what happens inside our body is dependent on the motion of the planet, or around the sun, on the revolution of the sun. And I tell you something very interesting. Have you seen the Olympic running?
Yeah.
The Olympic runners, when they come first, second, third, fourth, and some of the girls, they just have the ribbon to stop them. And there's somebody with a clock, who is first, who is second. Do they run clockwise or anti-clockwise? They do run anti-clockwise. When they go and go around the Kaaba.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking about that. You see.
They're doing Hajj. Do they? If this is, you think you have Kaaba here. Do you go around this?
They start from
Hajar around this. You
go around the Hatim.
You always keeping the Kaaba on your left, right? So this is anti-clockwise. If you tie a goat or a cow on a peg, and if you fix that peg to the soil, you find that the cow also goes round in an anti-clockwise fashion. What is the reason? The reason is very simple, that again we are following our Mother Earth. The Earth on which our planet is going around the sun in an anti-clockwise direction. And so in Islam, we will call it is a religion of natural religion, fitrat. And so we obey the natural laws. In all our systems, we say this is so many kilos, so many seconds, so many yards, or so many meters. So this mass, length, and time, with the three fundamental units in all scientific measurements, they're all related to our Earth. I'm very interested to this. I was always thinking that how our external behavior is dependent on the motion of the Earth, because the mass is depends on it's a certain portion of the mass of the Earth, and it's a pull of the Earth that gives you the weight. And so you say you measure temperature. You did measure temperature, but you didn't measure temperature. Everything, because all you measured is the length of the mercury column, so calibrated that if it is tense mercury column at that point, the temperature. So you measure length. Now length is again, this length is only a part of the length of the circumference of the Earth. Right. Our time is very different from the time of Jupiter. So you have mass, length of time, all related to this planet Earth, and to all our external things are, the scientific worlds on our behavior pattern are governed by this. But it's very interesting that inside the Earth, or inside our bodies also, the functioning of the cells are governed by the motion of the Earth on its axis. It's a very, very interesting idea.
How does, you have spent a lot of time researching so many things, you see. How does your knowledge, or the general body of science, do they accept that the world was created by a superhuman or being, or something, or it's just an
You
accident?
see, we can, in physics, if I talk now from hardcore physics,
Right.
we say that we can answer all questions about creations after Planck's time, 10 to the minus 43 seconds after Big Bang. From then onwards, we physicists can understand many things. But what happened before 10 to the minus 43 seconds? All the laws of the universe, the four forces of the universe, like the gravitational force, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, and the electromagnetic force, they were all part of one and the same force, but at an energy which was tremendous, tremendous energy. It has started, we say that the whole universe created from a single point, a sort of ultra small, ultra hot, ultra dense blob of thing. So from nothing, so to say. But then the question is, who did it? And there is, if a child asks, if God made the universe, who made God? So we have this, we say, shut up. We don't know. There are shut up questions in physics also. If we say what happened before 10 to the minus 43 percent, we say shut up. We get singularities, so we can explain the whole world after 10 to the minus 43 seconds. Now, coming back to your question, we cannot understand. It is very, it will be presumptuous to say that we know reality in all its manifestation. No. Our senses, biological senses. You see, we live in a world where we cannot sense the relativistic effects, right? They become prominent when the speed is almost 1/10 of the velocity of light. Now, none of our activities is that way. In the world of the small also, in the quantum world,
we are coming to the end of the program.
That, right?
Dr.
So it's
Shamsher?
very difficult to know. It is very difficult to answer that question. But what we can do, we can understand the whole of creation.
Right.
We can understand the laws, and we can acquire admiration for the tremendous amount of knowledge, the symmetry, the harmony, and the planning that has gone into making the world that we see it today.
MashaAllah. Very, very briefly, we are at the fag end of the program. You are also co-author of a book, I think, Scientific Indications in the Holy Quran.
Yeah,
very briefly.
Actually, we had a small group of people. We worked for 5 years, physicists, mathematicians, astronomers, and we also had someone from the religious side, sort of with a strong madrasa background, to say whether we are misinterpreting any of this. So we, starting from Surah Fatiha up to the end, we found there are about 750 verses in the Holy Quran that have some kind of bearing on science and technology. And it is a pity that the Muslim world is bent on rituals and rituals, but don't go into the depth of science. They did it at one time, at 100, 800 years ago, but we should be looking back all the time. We should be understanding the nature. There's, in brief, I said there's one verse, 10:101. He said, Kulin zuru maza fis samawati bada. Allah is asking the Holy Prophet, tell them to look at everything that exists between the heavens and the earth. Isn't that the agenda? The smallest of the small and the biggest of the big. Now the Muslims, if they don't, they understand. If they don't, they look at, ponder about the working of nature. If they don't go in for science, how will they deliver goods to humanity in terms of medicine, food and clothing, everything?
Thank you very much, sir.
Science should be the order of the day for all human beings.
Thank you very much, sir. Giving us some time.
Thank you very much for
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you, an honor. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching us, being with us. We hope that you have enjoyed the show as much as we have, and may Allah give us the tawfiq to understand the science and correlate it with our normal everyday life. Thank you very much. Next time, Same channel next week. In the meantime, take care.